All right, today we're doing something a little different. Think of it as a strategic autopsy. We're going to dig in and figure out how Intel, the once undisputed king of silicon, completely missed the AI revolution and let a potential trillion-dollar empire just slip through its fingers. Let's get started. I mean, this quote just says it all, right? This is one of the biggest what-if stories in modern tech. While Nvidia was quietly laying the groundwork for the future of intelligence, Intel made a critical choice. They chose to protect their existing empire, and in doing that, they might have just forfeited their entire future. And wow, this chart says it all, doesn't it? It's just brutal. You're not just looking at data here. This is a portrait of a seismic power shift in an entire industry. That staggering, almost unbelievable gap between Nvidia and Intel, well, that's the real-world price tag on that monumental mistake we were just talking about. Okay, so let's rewind. We're going to go back to that one single pivotal moment, the fork in the road where the timeline split and one company stepped onto the path of total dominance, while the other one, well, they walked away. And this is where it gets really interesting. Check out the timing. In 2005, Intel just pulls the plug on Larrabee. This was supposed to be their big bet on powerful standalone GPUs. They basically walked off the field, leaving this huge empty space. And then, just 1 year later, bam, Nvidia swoops right in with CUDA. And this wasn't just a new product. No. This was the very first brick in a software empire built on the exact ground that Intel had just abandoned. But look, a mistake this big, it's never about just one bad call, right? It's usually a symptom of a much deeper cultural issue. So you have to ask, how could a company that was packed with geniuses be so completely blind? Well, it turns out they were trapped inside a golden cage that they had built for themselves. And this was the golden cage, the x86 architecture. For decades, this thing was Intel's magic money machine. It powered the entire PC revolution, and it was ridiculously profitable. But here's the catch. It processed tasks serially, one after another, just really fast. AI, on the other hand, doesn't think like that at all. It needs parallel power. Thousands of cores all working together at the same time. Intel got so good, so successful at driving down its one-lane road that it completely missed the 10-lane superhighway being built right next to it. And that's the key takeaway here. This wasn't a technology problem, it was a culture problem, a real classic case of the innovator's dilemma. Every single decision they made was seen through one lens and one lens only. How does this protect our crazy high CPU profit margins? So anything new, especially if it was not invented here, was immediately seen as a threat. Neural networks? That's just some niche academic thing. Don't worry about it. And inside the company, politics made sure the old guard, the legacy silicon, always won. Okay, so while Intel was busy guarding its fortress, let's flip the coin and look at what Nvidia was doing. Back then, you probably just knew them for making your video games look cool, but behind the scenes, they were quietly doing something absolutely brilliant. They were digging a moat. And this moat wasn't made of silicon. It was made of pure software. This is just a strategic masterclass from Jensen Huang. Seriously. He didn't just want to sell hardware, he wanted to build an entire world. First, he gave CUDA away to researchers and developers. He nurtured a community around it, getting them to think and code in Nvidia's language. Before you knew it, it became the industry standard. And by the time the AI explosion happened, it was too late for anyone else. The entire ecosystem was locked in. Nvidia had a 20-year head start. Of course, Intel did eventually wake up and try to fight back with their own software, one API. But I mean, come on. It was almost 2 decades too late. That's like trying to convince an entire generation of English speakers to suddenly start using a brand new language overnight. You're not just fighting a competitor's product, you're fighting 2 decades of habit, community, and established code. It was a non-starter. You'd think it couldn't get any worse, right? I mean, missing the entire software revolution is bad enough. But then, the one thing Intel was famous for, the thing that was their superpower, their manufacturing prowess, it started to fall apart. And it happened at the worst possible time. So, Intel's whole deal was, we do everything ourselves. Design the chips, build the chips, the whole shebang. And for a long time, that model made them an absolute legend. But it ended up becoming an anchor. They just couldn't keep up with the cutting edge anymore. Meanwhile, you've got these specialized companies, foundries like TSMC, who do one thing, build chips. And they do it better than anyone on Earth. This allowed Nvidia to just focus on designing the best AI chips possible, while their partners perfected the manufacturing. It let them blow right past the giant. And all of that brings us right up to today, to our 2026 reality. After all of those fumbles and all of those missteps, where does the former giant even stand in this new AI-powered world? All right, here's the lay of the land. Intel is fighting hard with its Gaudi and Falcon Shores chips, but look at their key challenge. They're trying to break into an ecosystem that Nvidia already owns completely. Meanwhile, what's Nvidia doing with its Blackwell and upcoming Rubin platforms? They're just focused on extending their lead. It's the difference between trying to take the hill and defending it from the very top. But there might be a plot twist, and it's coming from a pretty unexpected place: geopolitics. The CHIPS Act is pumping billions of dollars into domestic manufacturing. Suddenly, Intel isn't just a company, it's a national security asset. And that government backing might just be the lifeline they need to claw back some relevance, not just based on technology, but on strategic importance. And so that leaves us with the big central lesson from this whole autopsy. Intel's story is a profound cautionary tale, and it forces us to ask a really tough question. Is it even possible for a company at the absolute peak of its power, blinded by its own success, to see a true paradigm shift coming? Or is this kind of spectacular fall just an inevitable part of the cycle?